Hello folks, I'm Appfielder. Welcome to this Minecraft tutorial for a sea pickle farm. This was designed on 1.18 but should work on 1.17 and 1.16 as well. I designed this farm because the existing farms on YouTube are either massively overpowered or just not efficient enough, and these things use a lot of bone meal, so you want them as efficient as possible. So this is actually about my fourth design. The first design over here, it's actually quite similar to one by a YouTuber called YouPowered, I think. And if I turn this on, let me talk to you about the problems with this farm. Now, firstly, it works. It's a decent design. You'll get about 3,000 sea pickles per hour from it. The problem is that we have just one clock that controls the dispenser, but it also controls these pistons here, and they're firing way too fast. Now, you do get sea pickles. They do grow. But you get about 3,000 sea pickles per hour. You're sort of losing chances for these things to grow. So we need to slow these down. So if I go ahead and turn this off, we go over to my design. Now you see we've got an extra clock here. So it does mean some extra blocks, but it's completely and utterly worth it. We get 3,000 per hour from that first design we looked at. We get over 6,000 per hour from this design, using the exact same amount of bone meal. All we've done is slow down how quickly these pistons fire. So that's just completely and utterly worth it in my opinion. Like I say, they chew through bone meal. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. We're going to have a look at the material list for this thing. I've got Light Matica, and if you need the Light Matic for this, it'll be on my website, but there are some things you need to know about building it. So you do still need the tutorial as well. We look at the material list. You need 13 solid blocks of your choice, doesn't have to be that. You need some glass, could use solid blocks instead, but I like to be able to see in. Some hoppers, observers, chests, any coral block will do. I've used brain, but any will do. Pistons, redstone dust, repeaters, and the rest you can see. Just go ahead and pause the video so you can go and collect the materials. There are a couple of extra things you need that are not on this list. Firstly, you need 2 hopper minecarts. We can see them on the screen there where my mouse cursor is. We need a couple of pieces of powered rail. They're temporary, there to put those into place. We need another temporary piston that we use to push these ones into place, these coral blocks. We'll need a lever. You can just reuse that one. And we also need some more solid blocks, just a handful of solid blocks and a handful of slabs as well that are temporary blocks, just to get all these into place. And you also need some water as well. Okay, that's the materials. Let's get into the block by block tutorial. First thing I would do in survival then is create myself an infinite water source. And to do that, just dig yourself a 2x2 hole, 1 water source there and 1 in the opposite corner. That's now an infinite water source. Okay, first thing you want to do for this farm is grab your chests like that, place them like that. And we want to crouch and place a hopper into each of them like so. There we go. And then we can go ahead and we can place our minecarts into position. So get your powered rail, crouch, place a bit of rail on there and on that one as well. And then put in your minecarts on top of that as well. Make sure they're hopper minecarts. Next up, we want to put in a solid block in between those two. And we also need a slab. Let's grab the slab and didn't grab it, did I? There we go. Put your slab on top there, so you end up with that. Now we need to put some temporary blocks in. This one, however, is permanent. Just come out 2 off either side of that, so it looks like that. Then grab a slab again. We want a top half slab on either side here. This is so once we are ready to break this rail, we can actually get to it. And then temporary block on top of the chest, so crouch place, and then a permanent block will go in the middle here. Now, because we've used solid blocks here, what we want to do is place a water source on each of these. This one will be permanent to keep the coral alive. These two keep the coral alive whilst we get them into position. Talking about the coral, go ahead and place coral over the top of all 3 of those blocks. Now come down here and break this rail, otherwise you won't be able to push the coral into the hopper minecarts. Perfect. On top of the outer pieces then, 2 temporary blocks on each. Break out the bottom one of those, and then want to place a piston, just a normal piston, into them like that. Go ahead and grab your lever or a button, doesn't really matter which, and then just flick it. It will push it into place, and we can go ahead and break that now, and then do the same on this one. Doesn't really matter where you put that lever. Perfect. Perfect. Whilst we're here and we've got the pistons, we can then put a piston here and a piston here facing towards the chests. That's going to break our sea pickles. And now we can go ahead and break some of those temporary blocks. So the ones above the chests, the slab, that one there, the one under the pistons, not that one, and that one there, that one there, and that one there. Keep our water source is in place. Right, next up then, we need to build out the control circuits. Now, I'm going to put the lever at the back. I'll show you at the end how we can move the lever to the front. We need to do a circuit for the pistons and one for the dispenser as well. In fact, we'll go ahead and put the dispenser in now. So place a temporary block in between the pistons, and we're going to go and grab our dispenser, he says. There we go. Perfect. Boom. Dispenser facing towards the coral. Right, grab your block of your choice. That's going to have a comparator on it, a repeater. We'll run the signal into that block. So you could punch that one out if you want, just to save on a single block, but I'm not going to bother. And we want to bring that back around like so. Next up, we need our parts for that then. So we're going to need that. We're going to need that. There we go. So out of this lever then, we need a comparator. Put that into subtract mode. So right click on it so that that light there is lit up. Into a repeater, then right click on it once so it's on 2 ticks like so. Bit of redstone dust on here, and then another repeater, and that also needs to be on 2 ticks. So just right click on it once, and then another bit of redstone dust that will feed back into our comparator. If I flick that lever, you'll see that's a redstone clock. Perfect. We're going to place another temporary block in there next to the lever, and we're going to go and grab our sticky piston this time. And we're also going to grab our, where's it gone? Our observer. Do we have an observer? No, we don't. Let's grab an observer. There we go. Perfect. We don't need the comparators anymore. Brilliant. So we've got our temporary block there. What we're going to do is place a sticky piston facing upwards. Then we're going to jump to where the lever is. And we're going to place an observer on top of the sticky piston with the redstone dot facing towards the coral. There we go, like that. So that when we flick the lever, that pushes the observer up. Okay. On top of here, we need another temporary block. And this time the observer facing, if you face towards that block, so the red dot is coming away from your farm. There we go. I'll give you the side-on view. Break that temporary block. And the last thing we need to do to feed the redstone signal into there is place a permanent block against the dispenser there. So if I flick that, you should be hearing that. There's obviously nothing in there at the moment. So we've got our clock fed for that. What we're going to do now is get the glass in and the water and the sea pickle, and then finally we'll do the last of the redstone circuitry. So I'm going to use glass here. We're going to need a hopper, and we're going to need a chest as well. We're going to place a bit of glass on top of that piston. We're going to place a temporary bit of glass on top of the coral, and then 2 there and 2 there. We remove that one. 2 on top of that one there, 2 there, and then 2 there. And remove that temporary block. Right, I haven't put one there. That's because this is how we're going to feed our dispenser with bone meal. So crouch, place a hopper into that. Crouch, place a hopper on top and another one there. So you have that pattern. And then crouch, place a double chest on top. That's going to contain our bone meal. Perfect. Last thing we've got to do then is get our redstone circuit off this clock into our pistons. And the way we do that is if we stand here, grab ourselves an observer, click, so it's facing up like that with the dot facing upwards, and then come around to your front sort of here. You might need to place a block here, just a temporary one to stand on in survival. And then you want to sort of jump, place your, oops, sorry, I put that in the wrong place. You want to place it right on that observer there, facing into there. Perfect. So you see the arrow, how that's facing into that piston there. The last thing we need to do is get this redstone signal into this piston. So we go around to this side. This time, the observer into that one. So the redstone dot's facing towards it. Grab a block of your choice, solid block. There we go. And that's the redstone signal around. All we got to do now is get the water and the sea pickle in. So let me grab a sea pickle. Let me grab some water. If I crouch, place the water against the dispenser. Place in a sea pickle. You can just place in 1 there. That'll do. If you've got 4, place in 4. I'm going to fill this up with bone meal right now. Just a tip, you might want more than 1 double chest on this. And if I go ahead and fill this up as well. Right, we should be good. If I go and turn this on, we should be getting, boom, perfect. We're getting sea pickles already and lots of them. Around about 6,000 per hour, as I said. It's a little bit luck of the draw, so that can vary anywhere between 5,500 and 6,500. So yeah, if you think the rates are a little bit slower, it's just, like I say, just a little bit of luck. So one last thing I'm going to show you, and this is completely optional. It's just if we want to bring the lever around the front to turn this farm on and off. Now, ideally, it'd be great if we could place it on that block, but that will lock those hoppers. So what we actually need to do is go down a block, place it on that block down there. If we go around the back now, and that's that block, isn't it? So on the back of that block, we place a redstone torch with a solid block over the top. And then if we place another redstone torch, which I've just lost, on the back of that block, like there, and then a solid block on top of it. There we go. We're now controlling that from the front instead. Like I say, that's completely optional, just if you want to bring the control of the farm around the front. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you need the Lightmatic, it'll be on my website, abfielder.com. If you're looking for a fun to play survival server, free as well, join my Discord. Link for that will be down in the description. That's all I have time for, folks. I'm Abfielder. Goodbye.